In her introduction to the Reed of God, Carol Houselander recounts for us how, as a child, someone whom she greatly respected told her never to do anything that Our Lady would not do, for if she did, the angels in heaven would blush. Carol took the older person's advice to heart, and for a short time she avoided doing those simple pranks that often spell joy for a child, but would be considered questionable for anyone choosing to imitate the holiness of Mary. But her inoculation of piety wore off quickly, primarily because she found it difficult to imagine Mary, the Mother of God, doing anything that she liked to do, simply because she couldn't imagine Mary doing anything at all. I think this simple story helps to illustrate what I believe many people do with Our Lady. People still think of her as someone who never would do anything that we do. To many, Mary is the Madonna of the Christmas card, kneeling in quiet contemplation on the immaculately clean stable of golden straw and shining snow. She's almost surreal. Nothing about her is ordinary, not even the stable in which love is born. In many people's minds, the Mother of God comes to mean only a pale statue or a bright picture, a tiny medal or a great stained glass window. We forget that Mary, the Mother of God on earth, was and in heaven is a person. Now, we don't only do this with Mary, but we do it with the saints too. John Shea, a contemporary spiritual writer, has a lovely poem about the saints entitled Friends in High Places. And he writes, "We like them up there as they shine in stained glass glory. A candle of a nun with a flame dancing on her head. A young man with steeple fingers holding a lily. A knight ramming a lance down a dragon's throat. A queen doling out bread to a beggar. A monk with a pen poised like a dagger. They live between us and God. But when did we notice the feet of the candle-like nun dancing on the earth, while the flame danced in her head? There was a vein bulging in the neck of the young man, and his steeple fingers choked the stem of the lily. The fear-bitten lip of the knight who realized the dragon was devouring his lance. The queen was as angry to give as the beggar was to receive. The monk's eyes were wide with wonder, and the pen trembled in his hands." His point is that we need to see the saints in their humanity. Otherwise, how do we bridge the gap between their heroic virtue and our weakness? We cannot hope to imitate them and model their holiness without first walking in their shoes and touching their skin. I believe what makes us truly love a particular saint are the little human details that we discover about their lives. I love St. Catherine of Siena because she loved her garden and gilded tiny oranges to humor a very difficult pope and eventually to bring him from Avignon back to Rome. She was not only the most dynamic woman in history, but also the best friend that other women could ever have. Such simple things make me forget that she was fiercely ascetic and that for years she fed only on the Blessed Sacrament. I love Pope John Paul II because of his love of nature and those simple human gestures of affection he showed time and time again to people. I love St. Francis of Assisi because all of creation was his family. Brother Sun, Sister Moon, Brother Wolf, and yes, even Sister Death. But it is Our Lady and no other saint that we can truly imitate. All the canonized saints had special vocations and special gifts for their fulfillment. Each of them had his or her special work, a work particular to that holy person. For instance, Mother Teresa worked with the poorest of the poor. St. Alphonsus preached to the most abandoned. Martin de Porres ministered to the slaves in the galley ships in Peru. But Mary had to include in her vocation, in her life's work, the essential thing that was to be hidden in every other vocation and in every life. She is not wholly human like the other saints. She is humanity. The one thing that she did and does is the one thing that we all have to do, and that is bear Christ in this world. You know, there are mornings when I wake up and I become anxious about my day, and I sometimes don't look forward to what lies ahead. Fear and doubt are often the shoes I'm tempted to put on as I begin the day. But I've learned through experience to turn to Mary, and I quietly pray the Hail Mary slowly, deliberately, and attentive to the words of that simple prayer. Why? I need courage and hope. I need stronger faith. I don't need fear and doubt and anxiety to rule my day. I need to walk with Christ, whose presence brings all that I need to proceed with in my day. And praying the Hail Mary has become my tool, my way of bringing the presence of Christ into the very beginnings of my day. Mary truly helps me to bear Christ throughout the day. In this world of ours, torn by agonies and dissensions, we need some direction for our souls which is never far away from us, which at the same time doesn't enslave us or narrow our vision, but it enters into every detail, every aspect of our lives. Every one of us longs for such an inward compass, an inward rule, a type of rule that is as big as the immeasurable law of God's love, yet as small and as narrow as our daily routine. To this need, the imitation of Mary is the answer. In contemplating her, we find intimacy with God. She is that compass. She is that law, which is the lovely yoke of the one irresistible love.